Welcome students to Galgotias University School of Media and Communication Studies. We are here studying theories of mass communication, and today I'm going to teach you about communication theories. So let's have a quick recap of what we studied in the last class. Well, in the last class I taught you about models of communication, and we discussed Aristotle model, Harold D. Lasswell model, Shannon and Weaver model, Charles Osgood model, Schramm's model of communication, and Sadharikaran model of communications. Well, when you talk about theories of communication, you will find there are n numbers of theories of communication. So in this particular slide presentation, I'm going to cover only the classical theories of communication, which are authoritarian theory, liberation or free press theory, social responsibility theory, Soviet media or communist theory, development communication theory, democratization or democratic participant media theory. So the first form of classical theory is authoritarian theory. As the name suggests, authoritarian means something which is related to authority, authoritative, right? So according to this theory, the mass media, though not under the direct control of state, had to follow its bidding. Under an authoritarian approach in Western Europe, freedom of thought was jealously guarded by a few people, which are the ruling class, who were concerned with the emergence of a new middle class and were worried about the effect of printed matter on their thought process. Steps were taken to control the freedom of expression. The result was advocacy of complete dictatorship. The theory promoted zealous obedience to a hierarchical superior and reliance on the threat and punishment to those who do not follow the censorship rules or do not respect authority. Censorship of the press was justified on the ground that the state always took precedence over the individual's right to freedom of expression. This theory stemmed from the authoritarian philosophy of Plato, who thought that the state was safe only in the hands of few wise men. Thomas Hobbes, Thomas Hobbes, a British academician, argued that the power to maintain order was sovereign and individual objection were to be ignored. Engel, a German thinker, further reinforced the theory by stating that freedom came into the supreme right only under authoritarianism. The word has been witness to authoritarianism means to control over media by both dictatorial and democratic government. Students, after reading this, I would just like to bring into your notice a short summary of what is authoritarian theory. See students, here the theorists are trying to say that the freedom of speech and expression should not be exclusive. It should be inclusive. Only few wise men should have that, so that we can have a very harmonic kind of an approach, and there could be an obedience in the society. There could be a system, rules and regulations which will be strictly followed by the society. Media will not be, of course, directly under the hands of government, but they have to be responsible and answerable for all their expressions which they are trying to distribute and disseminate through its channel to the public. Okay, so this is authoritarian theory. Libertarianism or free press theory. This movement is based on the right of an individual and advocate the absence of restraints. The basic of this theory dates back to 17th century England, when printing press was made possible to print several copies of books or pamphlets at cheap rates. The state was thought as a major source of interference on the right of an individual and his property. Libertarians regarded taxation and institutional theft. Popular will was granted precedence over the power of state. Advocates of this theory were Lao Tzu, and 16th century philosopher John Locke was of Great Britain in the 17th century, and John Milton, the epic poet, and John Stuart Mill, an essayist. Milton, in his work which is Areopagita in 1644, referred to a self-declaration, self-writing process. If free expression is permitted, let truth and falsehood grapple. In 1789, the French, in their Declaration of the Rights of Man, wrote, "Every citizen may speak, write, and publish freely." Out of such doctrines came the idea of free marketplace for ideas. George Orwell defined libertarianism as allowing people to say things you do not want to hear. Libertarianism argued that the press should be seen as the fourth state reflecting public opinion. What the theory offers is power without social responsibility. Students, after reading this, we can summarize libertarian theory as a theory which was liberal in nature, which was trying to give freedom of speech and expression to every individual, irrespective of his class, irrespective of his social status, caste, creed, color, and race. Libertarian theory demanded that everybody should have the freedom of speech and expression, and everyone has the right to express himself on various platforms and channels of media. What we are presently experiencing in our country is basically a free press theory. We could see that sometimes even nonsense is coming on the news channels, on social media, because these people urge on their freedom of speech and expression. Sometimes even a propaganda is shown on the name of freedom of speech and expression. So it is basically the audience who have to be very intelligible to decide what is news and what is a paid news, right? Well, there are always a critics to the theory. So free press theory also got a lot of criticism, and which was mainly done by Wilbur Schramm, whom I have taught you earlier also, Seibert, and Theodor Patterson. In their book Four Theories of Press, they stated pure liberalism is antiquated, outdated, and obsolete. They advocated that the need for its replacement by social responsibility theory. This theory can be said to have been initiated by the United States by the Commission of Freedom of Press 1949. The Commission found that the free market approach to press freedom had only increased the power of a single class and not served the interest of the less well-known well-off classes. The emergence of radio, TV, and film suggested that the need for some more means of accountability, censorship, regulations. Thus, the theory advocated some obligations on the part of media to society. A judicial mix of self-regulation and state regulation and high professional standards were imperative. That is important. Social responsibility theory thus came as the modern variation in which the duty to one's conscience was primarily basis of the right to freedom of speech and expression. So basically these people argued that freedom of speech and expression is good, it should be given, but there has to be some accountability, there has to be some censorship, there has to be some social responsibility approach, because the lower class, which are actually struggling for their bread and butter, are not interested to come and express their views. They are simply the acceptors, they are simply the absorbers of the communication, and the few rich people, powerful people, were using the libertarian process and were trying to publish anything which was in their interest, and people were absorbing it slowly, which could turn to be as the culture in the society, which is very harmful, because if it is of vested interest, then only few will be benefited and others will be exploited. So I hope you understand what is social responsibility theory, which is more focused towards the social responsibility. Think twice before speaking. This is the main aim of social responsibility theory. Next that we have is Soviet media or communist theory. Well, this theory is basically on the ideology of Karl Marx, who says that the information and the freedom of speech and expression should not be confined only to the ideas given by the ruling persons. Okay, it should be a common man's will to share. Plus, they say that with the means of modern technologies, we find that the speech of freedom of speech and expression is being controlled, and is not common to everyone, and there has to be some encouragement for feedback, because people people should give feedback and react to whatever is being coming through them in form of communication through different channels. And therefore they came up with as I told you, with a book which was on the 4 theories of press, where they later on even added 2 more theories to it. And those 2 more theories were development communication theory and democratization or democratic participant media theory, which I'll teach you in the coming slides. So Soviet media or communist theory is on the principles of Karl Marx. Students, when you talk about development communication theory, you can very easily relate it to the subject development communication that we study. Basically, this theory emphasizes on the fact that there can be no development without communication, and therefore the development is an essential part of the society because it is a continuous process, and for that we need to have very effective form of communications with us. And the media subordinates themselves to political, economic, social, cultural needs. And when you talk about social, cultural needs, then development communication is one center stage of thought which should be taken into consideration to reach to the people, to reach to the grassroots level. And hence the stress is on development communication and development journalism. And there was support which was given by UNESCO to this theory. And the weakness of this theory is that development is often equated with government's propaganda. So you should not always keep praising the government or whatever good they are doing. You should always maintain a balance and try to communicate the development with the people, and you should reach to more and more people so that it could be experienced by a larger group of the society, which could lead to a complete social transformation, upgradation, a better culture, a better society, a learned society can be achieved if we propose and we try to support the development communication theory. And therefore it could be done with development support communication, DSC. It could be done with development journalism, where we can report news which are related to development, so that a positivity is there in the society. Plus we find that it is constructively being taken by everyone, and there is no propaganda that is being said or spread or disseminated in form of communication. Well, as the name suggests, democratization or democratic participant media theory. This theory emphasizes on the democratic approach towards communication. It says that it should not go from top to down. It should be into horizontal way rather than vertical. So horizontal, everybody has got equal share of space, everybody has the equal share of participation. Everybody should participate, from be it from the smaller group or be it from the larger group. So democratization is a good approach, and I too support this kind of a theory because it believes in inclusiveness, it believes in bringing people together. And this theory has less criticism because it is thinking of the public interest. Everybody is included into it, and thus democratization or democratic participant media theory is a theory which works on the principle of giving voice to the voiceless. Okay, so this is democratic participation theory. So here is a quick summary that today we studied about the classical theories. In classical theories, we read about 5-6 kind of different theories. Authoritarian theory, we talked about Soviet theory, communist theory, and we actually tried to find that the classical theories are the most oldest form of theories which were in the beginning propounded by various scholars. And we thought that it is more of based on the organizational structure, analyzing aspects such as planned performance, then relationship, then how can one employee and relationship between the employer and employee could be emphasized. So all this kind of points are under the classical theory. Here are your questions for practice. You have to tell me about what do you understand by classical theories of communication. You have to describe the major elements of development communication theory in your own words. And you have to also, the third question is that which theory of communication fits the best in the present scenario. So it is basically open-ended questions. You have to give long answers to it and express your opinions on various kind of theories. Thank you, students. I hope you are able to understand theories of communication. Today we completed classical theories of communication, and in further lectures we are going to take up the other forms of theories of communications. Thank you. Wish you a very happy learning.